Hey guys, it's Jaxon. I wanted to give a quick little editor's note. In this episode, our mics phase in and out due to a noise gate issue. I've already fixed it for the next episode, but that way you guys kind of know what's going on. I've tried to normalize it as much as I can. And then sometimes our camera gives out again, and I don't catch it on the first one for a little bit, but I'm trying to fix that issue as well, just so you guys know. Other than that, enjoy the episode. Thanks, guys.
What it do, what it is, baby.
Welcome to Coming Up for Air, an introspective podcast.
You damn straight.
I'm your co-host, Jaxon.
I'm the co-host, Brendan.
Yeah?
That motherfucker. Himothy.
You're just on 10 today, huh?
Yeah, bro. We're on full go today.
Okay.
Yeah, bro.
Brendan, let's do our check-in. You wanted to talk about a new job?
Oh, facts, bro. Yeah. So I know previously we had talked about like wanting to bartend and shit like that, and we have now made moves to slowly start working at becoming a bartender, and I got hired at a restaurant that is also a bar. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. And I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be pretty cool to see, kind of just a switch of things from going to making coffee to making alcoholic drinks here in a little bit. Just kind of got a food run and expo in a little bit to see how the restaurant, kind of runs and stuff like that. But I'm excited to make more money because then from here, moving on to different things, acquiring different skills, trying to get this shit going. You know what I mean? Trying to get this shit moving.
Moving forward.
Yeah, bro. I'm trying to keep leveling up. So
Awesome. I wanted to talk about podcast type.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. We record on Sundays, and then we are releasing episodes on Wednesdays.
yeah.
So this most recent Wednesday, we dropped our trailer. So that gives you kind of a time frame of like how we're recording, right? With that, whenever we dropped it, all that I've heard when I go into work or like I'll have people reach out to me, and like people that I don't even remember that I have on socials or that you do or you're the one who has them on socials. But all of them are like, dude, I'm so excited to listen to your podcast. Like you and me are like a power duo. Like, and it's like, it's such a weird experience because of the fact that like, it's like pure joy to like hear all these people who like do know me, but like are seeing this like a little bit more of an inner part of me.
Kind of tapping into the brain a little bit.
Yeah, and like they're like, dude, I'm so excited to see what you're up to, like, and see this podcast and everything. I know you guys have been talking about it for a while.
Yeah, it is pretty exciting. I've had a couple people kind of talk to me and reach out and be like, yo, like they say the same thing, like, yo, I really think you and Jaxon are like a great fit to like be able to talk, just because like, if you were to meet me separately and then meet Jaxon separately, most people have told me, no shot, you guys are best friends.
Mm-hmm.
Only because the way your personality and the way you kind of look at life and the way my personality is and the way I look at life, like obviously they're like different, but it just meshes well. Like there's
a lot of things that we also agree on, and I think that a lot of people don't see that too.
Yeah, because obviously they're not there for those conversations and different things and shit like that. But no, I feel you.
So and I think some people forget that level of it, but yeah, no, I like it's some of like the first things that people say to me now is like talking about that thing or like but then also like they'll be like, when does the first episode drop? I'm like, bitch, did you not watch the trailer? It literally says it twice, like in the end and then in the description.
I'm just like, at least you're asking.
Yeah. Like I'll still answer, but I'm just like, goddamn, dude.
Watch the trailer.
It does give me like a sense of like, people just don't do it. Mm-hmm. People just don't pay attention. Yeah. They'll just be like, it'll come in my feed. Mm-hmm. Which is fair, I guess. But
hopefully the algorithm helps us out when we do it a bit in your feed.
Let's dive in.
Hello.
So today's topic, we're talking about how to deal with stress. Stress, especially with like anxiety and stuff. But like we're talking about how to manage your stress and everything with like that, which is a pretty heavy topic. I'm sure this will come up again.
I was gonna say very heavy and very broad. Mm-hmm. It's a very wide, like when you think of stress, it's like a very wide land. You know what I mean? Yeah, like it's just there's so much that comes with stressing.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot that's kind of there, and with that, I wanna kind of focus in because I want to ask you, like, what is stress to you? Like, what is stress?
Oh, that's
Which is a really hard question, all things considered.
That is a tough question. Excuse me. I don't know. I feel like stress for me is very situational. I have, like, at least for me personally, now in my life, I think all my stress is situational based. And I have to, like, pull myself out of the situation, like me as a whole, and put as if, like, okay, if I was watching this happen to somebody else, and they were stressing about something, what could I help them out with and tell them, like, to not stress out about, or like what they're controlling, and you know what I mean, just shit like that. So, like, for me, stress is always, like, situational based, and, like, no matter how bad something is getting, I will always try and take, like, 2 minutes to just pull myself out of the situation, take my feelings out of it, take a deep breath real quick, collect myself, and be like, all right, why am I stressing out? Like, what is the reason I'm stressing out for? You know what I mean? So I think I've gotten really good about, especially with the places that we work at, and, you know, just how fast paced everything is, and, you know, shit gets stressful and you have to come up with solutions on the fly.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to do. But it's also possible, you know? So, for me, all my stress is situational based. It's all based off of, like, what's going on in that current moment.
Yeah. And I think that obviously, like, stress is anything that makes you, like, uncomfortable or, like, weighs on you pretty heavily, anything that you kind of, like, stay worrying about, even if it's not necessarily something that you can control.
Yeah.
But how are you able to tell kind of what makes you stressed? Because you said yours is situational. So, like, what is it that you can point at and be like, these are the signs, these are the things, like, for people to be like, I don't know why I always don't feel so good, because some people really do not understand, like, the difference between stress, anxiety, and just, like, general discomfort.
Yeah. I would say the things that stress me out, like I said, for me, at least for me in my life, like, dealing with incompetent ass people
That stresses you out.
has to be my number one most stressful thing in the world, bro. Because when you explain logically, like, if you try and dumb shit down to, like, literal 1 + 1 is 2 for somebody, and they still look at you and they're like, or, like, you explain something, and, you know, if you're trying to help somebody out, you give them a solution. You're like, boom, right here for you. This is probably the best bet for you. At least you're asking me for advice. Here, I'm going to give it to you. Boom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There you go. And then they go, oh, okay. Exact opposite.
Yeah, they just don't take into account what they've asked you. And
I hate wasting my breath and energy and time.
And I think there also needs to be a level of understanding whenever you're doing that, is, like, don't necessarily think that the person isn't. If you're giving advice to someone, this kind of is off topic, but, like, it's just because it's something that you mentioned of, like, if someone's giving you advice and they don't listen to it, don't think that they just ignored it or, like, didn't take it into account. They might have just decided what's better for them in their situation, or what they feel like they need to do. But that's a completely, like, you know.
And I would understand that if someone looked me dead straight in the face and said, I appreciate you for your advice and thank you for telling me this. I'm going to take it into consideration, think about it, but don't be mad at me if I do something else other than that. I would be like, you know what? I can't be mad. Regardless, I can't be mad at anybody if they don't take my advice. Like, yeah, you fucking asked for it, but also at the same time, if you just decide to be like, yo, fuck that guy, I can't be mad at you for that. Like, who am I? You know what I mean? But also in the same sense, like, it's kind of annoying, you know what I mean?
No,
like, it's
person,
irritating.
As the person who, like, gets talked to all the time, or, like, questioned for advice.
Yeah, like, you know.
Yeah.
And then watching somebody do the opposite, and you're like, dog, you could have at least, like we could have talked about it. You know what I mean? Like,
it's not even just that. It's, like, for me, it's whenever people ask me for the advice, and then they are receptive to it, and they respond well, and then they do the opposite thing, and then they get pissed off at the result when it's not the thing that they thought it was.
Yes. But yeah, bro, incompetent people has to be, like, my number one stressful thing. Like, for me, like, you know me, I'm a very chill person. I'm a very likable person. And that's not even me, like, sucking my own dick or anything. That's just like what I've been told is that people are like, oh yeah, you're a likable person. But like, I don't know. I feel like I've just gotten and I'm so quick with it to the point where like, if I know that like talking to this person is going to stress me out because like, I don't know, I'm very like, I try and see everything. Like I try and see big picture all the time. You know what
Angles.
I mean? Yeah. You have to look at life at angles, bro. Everything's perspective based. Everything is angle based. You know what I mean? So when people are very narrow minded and they only see one way, I'm like, bro, blood starts boiling, dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like that would be like my number one trigger for stress. Second is I stress myself out when I find myself. If this doesn't make sense, also please tell me it. But the way
Yeah.
I stress myself out over stressing about things I can't control. Cause like I find myself stressing about things that I can't control, and I'll like chill real quick on it, and I'm like, oh, bro, like you can't control that shit. Like cut that shit out. And I'm like, all right, fuck that shit. But the fact that I even like I've been working so hard at the like not stressing about things you can't control that when I still do it, I like get on myself for it. You know what I mean? And then
you rat yourself.
Yeah, and then I fucking end up getting more stressed out because I'm like, why the fuck do I care about that shit? You know what I mean? Or like, why the fuck am I worried about it?
I think that we'll definitely come back to the point of how to deal with things that are like out of your control and letting those things affect you or not. But I think that for the most part, the way that you can tell that you're dealing with like stress or something is stressing you out is if it's something that doesn't really leave your mind and is constantly like almost weighing you down or makes you feel innately heavy or
like
uncomfortable.
Like I know like sometimes if there's times where you're thinking about something that you're like, you know, quote unquote stressed out about, like sometimes you'll have like weight in your chest, you know, you'll have that like almost like heavy breath, you know what I mean? Like if you consistently notice something that's like got you physically to the point where you like something's up. Yeah,
the best way that I apply it is like either if you have like a big game coming up, a show, or a test coming up, and you feel kind of like that tense in your chest, or like you almost feel like your brain is being like pushed, like your head's being squished almost, of like that feeling of innate pressure and you're not really sure where it comes from, or like it feels like harder to breathe, that type of thing is very much like you're experiencing stress. And I think that's really, it's one of the key parts of like living as a person is dealing with stress and understanding how to overcome that and the implications of it. I actually had a coworker recently who had like a really, really bad, stressful day. And I had to talk to her about it. And it was like
me trying to wrap my head around it and start thinking about people.
It's like, just like you don't realize. Like I can tell how she handles stress because I've worked with this person before. Mm-hmm. And they're not bad at dealing with it. It's just that like their level of calmness and like control is far different than mine and most people, and it's noticeable. And I like had this conversation with them, and like they told me things that made me realize like, oh, like this person deals with stress in a very unique way that I would consider unhealthy. And I don't really think that they are comfortable knowing how to deal with the situations that they get in at my work environment.
Yeah, and I feel like that's always the sad part is like when you, well, not necessarily like sad because I don't want to make it sound like you're like taking pity on somebody.
No,
you know I mean? But it's more just, of like it's more of a like fuck, bro, like that's tough. You know what I mean? Because when you work yourself and train yourself to a point where, or like you know you go through so much at some point in life where you're like kind of gotten that wisdom and really understood how to handle the stress and like really like handle what you need to and really worry about what you need to, like until you really get to that point, like seeing other people who haven't got to that point, like that shit sucks.
It's not even just about seeing like the people who haven't gone to that point. It's about the fact that like there's a layer of like connectivity you have with people, innately and like that you develop also. And I think that it's hard whenever you connect with somebody in one of those moments and you can't necessarily tell them how to make it better because it kind of breaches that gap. And you don't want them to be offended or upset by the advice, or that for them to be like, what the fuck do you know? And this kind of leads into the point of like, if you are in a situation where you are high stress, high anxiety, don't be afraid to talk to someone that you like work with or are colleagues with, any form of like connection that you have with them that is like base level. And don't always assume that whenever they tell you something that's a little hard to hear, that is because they're an asshole or they're trying to like belittle you. It is the implication that they are sitting there talking to you 9 times out of 10, and there is those outliers, is that they care.
Yeah, bro, that's like today. Like today at work, one of the females I had worked with had asked me like advice on like guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I was brutally honest. Like, brutally honest.
And relationships are tough.
You know what I mean? And obviously, like, I'm a little extra biased because of the shit that I've gone through. So
yeah, I think that you, much like our mutual friend, I think that you have really, really bad views on relationships now.
As of right now, yes. Yeah, fuck a relationship. But, it was funny because when I had given her the advice, I was like, I'm not gonna cap to you, bro. Like, I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. And I told her straight up, and I was like, I'm sorry if you don't like my answer, but here it is. And then she was like, sometimes you don't have to always be brutally honest. And I said, kind of.
Yeah, you're right. I think she's right. Sometimes you don't have to be. But also, if you are going to somebody who you know is brutally honest, there's a reason you're going to them.
Exactly. Like, at that, like, from the day I set foot on that property, everybody knew this motherfucker does not care about telling you whether or not you want to hear it or not, but like this dude's going to drop it on you.
And I think that gets into like a personality trait of like sometimes you do need to take brevity and you need to understand how to talk to people in that sense. But I think that there's also a lot of good in the fact that people who don't sugarcoat things a whole lot, because we all do it. We all innately sugarcoat things because that is how we are. We don't tell it exactly how we feel, whether it be because we just can't mentally do that or because we care about this person in some regard enough to tell them how we really feel. There is something to be said about the fact that like being the person, and both of us are this person of like, I'm going to tell it to you how I think you need to hear it, which is how I usually feel about this situation. Right. There's a level of like discretion that also can be taken of the fact that like sometimes people don't need to hear the brutal truth and they just want to hear what they want to hear. But at the same time, that person's coming to you for a reason. And if they already know that about you, towing that line can be difficult.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like when, like, especially now, like when people come to me for advice, like 9 times out of 10, the people who still come to me for advice is because they know I'm still gonna give you your brutal honesty, but with love. You know what I mean? Like you said earlier, like my biggest thing is like, hey, bro, I'm not telling you this to be a fucking dick. I'm telling you this because of one, of what I've been through, and 2, because of how I care about you. You know what I mean? I don't want to see you, because like you said, there's so many people that'll take advice, think that they're doing something for the better, or they genuinely believe that they are doing something, and maybe they are. You know what I mean? And then results don't end up how they think they do, and then they get fucking pissed.
Yeah,
and they're angry. You know, and it's like, well, could have seen that coming. You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, people have to learn.
I want to kind of pivot us. How do you de-stress? How do you deal with like what works
Weed.
for you when it comes to de-stressing?
Weed.
Yeah.
Smoke a blunt. Do yourself a favor. Smoke a blunt. Number 1. Number 2, breathing exercises.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times, like, even at work or sometimes, you know, like, even if I have to go to, like, in the bathroom and, like, just, like, chill out, a little USA, you know what I mean? Massage the earlobes a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, hey, bro, you gotta do what you
Massage the earlobe?
Yeah, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to be able to calm down. You know what I mean?
I don't think I know that one.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We'll talk about it later.
No,
No, it's okay. I got you. I'm about to change your life. Don't even worry about it, bro.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. Smoke a blunt. Do some breathing meditate or exercises. I don't know. Learn how to meditate, dog. Learn how to meditate. Fucking. There's so many different things you can get into to de-stressing. Working out's a great de-stressor. You feel like the man or woman when you fucking walk into the gym and
On some baller shit.
on some I'm heated, I could fucking murk the first person who walks up to my set type shit, and then you just start absolutely chucking weight around.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's always a great feeling. Shit, what else? Fucking go on a drive, listen to some vibey ass music, listen to some Brent Faiyaz, toxic ass shit, fuck the world, you know what I mean? Yeah, bro, find what works out for you. There's so much different things that help you de-stress.
There's no set thing that we can tell you that will make you, or anyone can tell you that'll work for you 100% of the time, guaranteed. It's just not how it works, you know. And I don't smoke, so
yeah,
I have that different perspective.
Yeah, Jaxon can't do that.
Yeah, I have that different perspective of like, that isn't necessarily a solution to my problem, and which necessarily isn't a way that you should look at de-stressing. Isn't as like, how do I fix this problem? It's more of like a, how do I make this easier?
Yeah, because for me, when it comes to like, when I think of smoking, for me, it's not more of like a solution to a problem. It's a let me chill out real quick and reassess the situation.
Yeah, and I just mean as like de-stressing. Like,
yeah, you know what I mean? It's like a all right, let me take a quick breather. You know what I mean?
Pulling into like de-stressing. What was I saying? Hobbies. Yeah, last episode is a really good. Is how I de-stress, is like is hobbies, like doing things that I enjoy, like little things, either be it like playing games, going on drives is also an option for me, or like woodwork, whatever hobby I have at the time kind of helps me de-stress quite a bit. And I think that as simple as talking to somebody about the thing that is upsetting me also is a good de-stressor, because a lot of people underestimate the fact of like, we are social creatures, and simply talking about the thing that is upsetting you does significantly more for most people than they're willing to admit.
Bro, even if you got to go up to somebody, there's been times where I've told somebody dead ass, bro, where I've gone up to them, I know that they're stressing out about something or they're having a rough day. And I go, hey, I'm not even going to respond to you, but just let out whatever you need to let out, dog.
Yeah, sometimes just talking to a person and them just being like, that sucks.
Yeah, and then just being like,
yeah, that's tough.
Like, hey, bro, I'm proud of you. You're doing great. That's all you fucking need. And then just move on like you didn't hear shit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because 9 times out of 10, maybe like 8. You know what I mean? But for the most part, sometimes, like you said, like sometimes people don't really want to respond. They just kind of want to just let that shit out, talk about whatever they need to, and then keep it moving.
Yeah, and
it does make a difference.
And it does really make a difference. And you don't realize it until you've either been in that situation and done it, or you are the person that is like just being kind of that wall, and you're not, and you understand that you're going to the conversation to just kind of be like there. Or
you're there to be, sometimes it's okay just to be a pair of ears.
Yeah, and just be like, yeah, that sucks. Give them a hug, and then a slap on the back of the head.
Yeah.
And then walk away.
And then give them a little tap on the butt, you know? Hey,
yeah.
Good game.
GG.
Yeah, exactly. But then again, you also know the difference between when someone genuinely like wants a response and when someone genuinely wants to talk about it.
You know what I mean? That, or they have to be open with you about whether or not they want a response.
Yeah.
And you have to, and one of my biggest things, and sometimes I think it's a problem that I do it, But one of my biggest things is I'll look at somebody, I'll be like, do you want me to respond to this? And some people love that I do that. Some people not so much, because some people are like, I wish you wouldn't ask me that and you would just tell me. I'm like, sometimes it's better that I just sit here silent and let you say something dumb. And like in the best way possible. But like sometimes some things that people get upset about or like are really stressing about, it is better that I don't respond, because I'm going to be like, I mean, why the fuck are you worried about that?
Yeah, and not only that, but I feel like there's so much power when you stay silent, and when someone says something out loud and they actually hear themselves say it out loud and no one else has responded yet or given it any thought, and they kind of think about it themselves after they hear it out loud, and they're like, wow, that sounds dumb as fuck when I said it out loud.
Yeah.
And then by the time that you even have time to respond, they already know that what they said is dumb as fuck, and they're like, never mind, bro.
Yeah, which I think leads us kind of into the like aspect of how do you not stress about the things that are like out of your control that you can't really do anything about.
One more time, I'm sorry. I apologize. I was very focused on the water and the mute.
How do you how do you deal with things that are like that you stress about that are out of your control and that are things that you shouldn't be worried about? Like, how do you stop that or sit and kind of like head to wall?
For me, I tell people this all the time, and I've even told like my mom this, and like had to like genuinely convince her like I was not playing around. I talk to myself more than I talk to anybody else. If you don't talk to yourself, if you don't have a conversation with yourself more than you talk to other people, kind of have a problem. And not a bad problem, but like that voice is in your head, regardless whether or not you talk to it or not. You know what I mean? We were talking about this the other day. Like you still have that voice in your head no matter what. You know what I mean? So whether or not you talk to it or not, that bitch is there. So you might as well, that better be your best bud. You know what I mean? Like if you're fucking with that homie, you're good, dude. So for me, like whenever I stress out over something I can't control, I would genuinely like almost like mentally picture my like sitting with myself in a room. And I'm like, all right, bro, let's map this shit out. And I will literally, every single, point that has to be made, what I'm stressing out about or, what I'm freaking out about. And then it's like, all right, bro, what can you do to change this outcome? And then if you go through these different things and none of these outcomes change because you're still waiting on another variable or somebody else or something else, then you can't control that outcome. If you can't put your own effort or own energy and don't need anything else to change the outcome, that's something you can control. You know what I mean? But I feel like when you need something else or somebody else or you have to wait on something else for that outcome, then you necessarily can't control that. You know what I mean? At that point, you do what you can. You put as much energy into where you can. But once you get to that point, you cannot stress about the outcome because you can't control it.
Yeah, and I think that this is something that I struggled with recently about the promotion position, like the assistant manager position. For those who don't know, I basically went out for an assistant manager position at my job and then didn't get it after kind of like a song and dance of like, I should be able to get it. And then, it just didn't work out.
After multiple people telling him like, you're probably going to get it.
And then I went to the interview and then it was like a stress train from there on out. And I didn't get it. But there's this like level of like, during that like week period, basically, it was like miserable. I was not doing good. And everyone around me knew it too. Like they all saw that like it was freaking me out.
Yeah.
And I like, there's not a good, just like one size fits all answer to this, but there is a good understanding, which is that when you are worrying about something that you can't control, you need to understand that your worries only do so much to make your life worse instead of just letting the thing happen. Because no matter what it is, no matter what's happening, for me, there are numerous things that this could be. Like, there are situations with my roommates that happen where I was like waiting to try and figure out when one of them was leaving and then one of them was moving in, and it was stressing me out a bunch. And I kind of had to have like a sit down with myself and basically be like, I have no hand in these days, in like what is happening. I can just react and then make the next step easier.
Yeah, bro. Life is 90% reaction and 10% actual like action.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people forget the fact that like it's okay to just take a second and understand that you have to wait. And we're all impatient. I think that technology and everything has made that a lot worse to where we're even more impatient than we used to be.
Yeah, we're so used to things like quick as shit.
Snap.
Yeah.
That whenever, we have to wait more than a day even, it's too much. And I think that a lot of people could benefit from utilizing the skill of like, take a second, breathe, and understand that it's not the end of the world. And whatever you're stressing about, the more you stress about it and the fact that you can't control it and you want to change the outcome or have the outcome already, the worse it makes your life, because you are literally just mentally destroying yourself for something that will not be altered. And there are ways to counteract that, be with friends, do things that you enjoy, whatever it is that takes your mind off of it to kind of keep going. And I'm not saying don't give yourself time to think, but understand that like it's okay to push things to make the noise stop.
Yeah, like it's never bad to have distractions, or even like we talked about, like hobbies it's such a big thing to be able to keep yourself distracted from like, real life struggles or things that are going on in your life. And like you said, hanging out with friends and, being open, being vulnerable is probably one of the biggest advantages that you could have in life. You know what I mean? And it's not like just being vulnerable all the time. It's knowing when to be vulnerable, understanding, and choosing carefully the people around you to be vulnerable with, because when you are vulnerable to, certain people who may seem like they have the best interest for you, they end up taking that vulnerability for
granted
or
advantage of it.
Advantage, yeah, I would say that, take it for advantage, and kind of manipulate. You know what I mean? There's a lot of shitty people out there, and it's because everyone got treated shitty. You know what I mean? Everyone has their story. Everyone's got their own trauma and shit like that, but everyone likes to also make an excuse for it on why they're allowed to be a shitty person because of it. You know what I mean? So you got to pick and choose and really understand and try and, find those genuinely good people, Mm-hmm. When you have a good, solid fucking crew around you, like whatever you're stressing out about, you should be able to come to one of your homies, whoever it is, and be like, hey, yo, like this is what's going on. And, they're like, yeah, bro, I got you. You know what I mean? Like, say less. Like, I got, like, here we got you here. But yeah, man, having a solid people group around you, to be able to tell you right from wrong, and when you're being a dumbass, and when you shouldn't stress out. And
do you think it's healthy to stress?
I think at some point, I think it drives you. You know what I mean?
Understanding that, like, with all things, like in minute little cases, it's good to stress. It's good to have things that
I think stress builds character.
Yeah, and it pushes you along. It makes you understand like the worth of some things or the reward of something. If you spend days stressing about like the outcome of something and then it turns out exactly how you wanted it to, it's a relieving, rewarding feeling.
Yeah, it was one of those like, damn, everything I like went through, like everything I stressed out about, it was worth it in the end of the day. You know what I mean? And those W's, whether it be small, little, you have to take those.
I also think that it also teaches you how to accept failure, which is something that a lot of people really struggle with, including me. I hate failing.
It's never failure. It's always a lesson.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part to accept, is that when you fail and you fall completely on your face And as soon as you get back up, you just don't want to fucking even attempt anything ever again. But it's like, at least I know that doesn't work. That's one off the list. You know what I mean? And it's you know, like how we talked about earlier, everything's perspective based. You know what I mean? Once you learn how to change your perspective on something and come at it at a different angle, at some point one of these different angles is gonna crack and that bitch is gonna bust.
Bussin'.
That bitch going, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, bro,
That's how you feel?
Trust, I promise, bro. Like because even now, like, I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I haven't figured like my path yet. You know what I mean? And I get stressed out about it because, like, obviously, like, I'm a very big person. I'm like I want to be successful early. You know what I mean? Like, because we've seen so many people our age or even younger who are just popping off and getting fucking very successful. You know, and it's just. Obviously, it's like, fuck, you know, I would really like to be that and be able to put on for my family and, like, provide for my family.
One of the YouTubers that I love to watch, he's 2 years older than me, and I think about it all the time because he literally, like, was doing basically exactly what I was doing, except he was streaming it. And that's the only difference, pretty much, is, like, all the stuff that he was doing, playing, like, and everything, the challenges he was doing, all the same shit I was doing, basically, except he was streaming it, and I was not. And I think about it all the time, like, damn.
Could be you.
Damn.
Could have been me.
He got me.
He got me. Fuck. But, no, I feel you. It's always tough seeing shit like that, because, like, when you see somebody who's, like, does what you do, and you're like, bro, I can do that. Like,
yeah,
I know for a fact
I also
I
think
can do
that that's one of the biggest causes of stress is what ifs. Of like oh dude, that could have been.
But that's one thing is like, that's what I always tell you, like, bro, like, you don't know if you're gonna wake up tomorrow. You could be the healthiest fucking person, bro. You don't know if you're gonna wake up tomorrow.
These are weird.
I shit on my lungs and fucking and in my chest, and people fucking shit on their liver and become alcoholics, and they fucking become an alcoholic and don't die till they're like 80 something, bro. But a fucking valedictorian of a fucking human being, right, can go and walk across the street and get hit by a fucking car and die. And you're like, what a great fucking soul and human being that was. They didn't deserve that shit. You know what I mean? Like, so with that, why try and have regrets? You know what I mean? Like,
worry.
Yeah, why worry about regrets? Why, like, if you didn't do something, fuck it. Next time when I have this fucking feeling of trying to send it, bro, I'm going to send it because I don't want this feeling again.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of stress originates from on like a day-to-day aspect is like your regrets and the what ifs.
Yeah, facts.
Which usually go hand in hand.
Hey, it's okay. The universe has already built down to a molecular level.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Here we fucking go.
The opposite of your decisions today. New world theory, baby.
Just hate you so much.
It's true. It's true.
I think
in a different reality, there's a decision, right?
There is no way.
No, listen, right? Where Jaxon did not come over today, we did not film today, right? In another reality, right? And then we were just like, we'll film tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like,
and there's another reality where my dick's on your forehead. What are you getting at, dog?
Wow, that's crazy. No, that's not how that works.
Isn't it?
No.
Oh, now it's not how it works. Now that's not convenient.
No, that's not how that's not how the decision making works.
I want to say that with the what if of like, understand what ifs can only get you so far. And literally I had this conversation with one of my friends like a day or two ago. And they were like stressing about this thing and really upset. And they basically like said to me like, what was it? It was along the lines of like, yeah, Jaxon, but what if this happens and like I just did this? And I said, that's not what we're doing. I said, we're talking about right here, right now, in the situation you are in currently. I said, it doesn't matter about the what if, because at the end of the day, if you spend all of your time worrying about the what ifs, you're going to miss what's happening right in front of you. And then it doesn't matter what decision you made.
And then you sit back and go, damn, I missed my everything. Like I missed all of it.
Yeah.
And then you feel even worse because now you're worrying about what ifs and regretting shit. You're fucked.
One of my favorite things to like think about is the concept of like you don't know that you're in the good times until they're gone.
Facts.
Which one of my coworkers told me. She said, I think Jackson's wrong.
Which Jackson rarely hears. Rarely. So I already know where this is going.
And she says, I think you do understand when you're in the good times. You're just not willing to admit it. Which I was like,
yo,
you're right.
Yo, she shit on you.
And you know what?
She pulled her pants down in the middle of work
I think
and
you need to not say that ever again.
Took your fucking dump on you, bro.
And you know
right
what?
Right here on the chest.
But here's the thing. I looked at her and I said, you're right. But is that not the same thing? Because if you're not willing to admit it, you're still being blind to it.
No, because I feel like if you
either way, she is right though.
Yeah, 110%. But I feel like if you're aware of like, damn, bro, like this couldn't be here tomorrow. You know what I mean? Most people are aware of that situation. Like, yeah, but like, okay, so say like relationship based, right? If you're aware of like this is a good time, good memories right here, you might subconsciously know that and then be like, I'm gonna appreciate this just a little bit more.
I think that it's weird because I'm on both ends of the spectrum for like understanding how to appreciate and then also understanding how to move forward. I literally like growing up, the thing that my father always told me and my grandfather always told him, and so I got it from both of them. And it's literally one of my tattoos is tomorrow is a new day, which is basically saying like what happened today, good or bad, you can move forward from it.
Yeah, you can't change it. It's already stuck.
It's set in stone.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's stuck. Once you wake up, you get another 24 hours or however long
you're awake.
Yeah, however long you're fucking awake, to do something completely different or the exact same fucking thing, but that choice is yours and it's a completely renewal. Ew.
But then there's also that side of me that is like you don't know you're in the good times until they're gone. And now for me, it's you don't know how to appreciate the good times until they're gone. Because I think that's what that boiled down to.
And you know what I think can help you out with that, which I've talked to our boy Thompson about, is just, and I think that goes in hand with being or having more gratitude. So for Ryan, we have a friend of ours, Senor Ryan. He's one of my best friends, and I love him with everything.
He's also one of those people who I only basically call by their last name.
Yeah, he's just one of those guys. You know, everyone has people they know like that. But my man is so like free spirited, open minded.
Do you think he's gonna watch this?
Oh, probably.
Fuck the free world. For
fuck
Ryan
the free
Thompson.
world. Scum gang, Mr. Thompson. Yeah. Nah, but my man, we were talking about it, and he's like, bro, I started realizing that like, I started manifesting and like really started speaking shit into existence when I started showing more gratitude toward everything. Like, yeah, Ryan's a goofy dude. You know what I mean?
Also has the whitest name I've ever heard, by the way.
Yeah.
And I just realized this right now.
Yeah. It's okay.
Tragic.
It's okay.
Manifesting.
Yeah. So like he'll basically be like, yo, when I wake up, like whether I walk out back or something like that, he was like, I tell 5 random things that I'm grateful for them.
You know what I heard him say when we were in the car? That blew my mind, and I was like, damn, I wish everybody did that. He was like, when I wake up in the morning, I do my morning ritual, and then I look myself in the mirror and I say, today you're going to make 5 people smile.
Oh, yeah. He also told me about that. And he also tells himself like, hey, I love you. You're okay. And I'm proud of you. Because if you can tell yourself that and you believe yourself, you don't need anybody else in the world to tell you that shit.
It's like such a de-stress thing of like, stress is so correlated to your own self-worth and what you visualize as your own self-worth.
If you are not your biggest fan, you will be your biggest downfall.
Yeah.
110%.
Big facts.
If you are not your biggest fan, you will become your biggest downfall because 99% of people's problem is themselves.
Yeah, honestly, like you are either your biggest ally or your biggest enemy.
Yeah, everything comes with reaction. And And with those reactions come more reactions. And
Opposite reaction.
yeah, and people don't realize, like, when you react to something with the mindset of I'm not worth enough, or I'm not equal level to this person, or because a lot of people try and look at it as like, oh, I'm higher. Like, when you think of like a higher self-conscious and stuff like that, and you try and think of yourself like self-enlightenment, that's a different story. But when people genuinely try and think of themselves as above or beyond other people, that's also a very, very bad thing. But it's
It's called the God complex.
yeah, like when people think that, you know, they are God, and then when people think that they're below fucking dirt, it's fucked on both ends, because you have someone who doesn't understand that you're just as human being as the next person next to you, and you mean just as much.
Yeah.
And then you have someone who on the opposite end thinks that they're more than just a human being, and that they deserve everything.
And I've been on both ends of the spectrum. I won't lie. In high school, I had a friend, and he is somebody that I looked up to a lot, and I still do. And he had a really bad God complex, and then I developed one by being so close to him and learning from him. And then it made it worse. Like, okay, so for those who don't understand how God complexes could possibly form, I'm going to break it down for you. As somebody who's had it, then been humbled, and then is kind of like in the stage of like, I've found the balance of like, I don't feel awful about myself 100% of the time, and I don't feel like I'm amazing 100% of the time. This is how it forms. You have people behind you who support it effectively. And I was in a situation where basically everything that I did was being praised, and I busted my ass for it. I busted my ass to make my work shown and appreciated and known that, like, this is the stuff that I'm creating. This is the stuff that I'm doing. And I had a lot of people that praised me for that. And in some regards, I still feel like that was deserved because I did work for it. You know, I busted ass to make sure that my product, what I was producing, because it was a lights and sound thing, it was a visual medium, was the best that it could be effectively. Like, it was really good. And I wanted it to be the no other person before or after me will ever compete with the things that I've created, was the goal basically. And so I had a lot of people behind me supporting me on that, of being like, this is like, you are top tier. Like,
You're the GOAT.
Yeah. You know, and you have, even when I was in that state of like having that level of God complex, like, there's still so much self-loathing. And there's a point where you fake it till you make it, because your confidence is such an asset that you've developed that you just have to keep lying to yourself, and then it makes it worse because it's almost like an addiction.
Yeah.
Because
it's just a big ass circle.
Well, it's not in the sense that, like, addictions start whenever you do something, and then it's not enough, so you have to consume more of it. No. So you have to lie to yourself more. So you have to play it up more. And so it's just this never-ending spiral. And then people support you feeling like you're the best ever. And obviously there's other ways that they develop, but this is like my case scenario. This is what I have seen and learned on one of the ways that they develop, is basically like the people around you. And then it wasn't until like a friend of mine literally was like, hey, you're kind of a fucking asshole. And they were like, over this past year, I don't know what's happened to you. And like, it was like a 3-month period where it was really bad, basically. And he was like, but over the past year, like, you've shown signs, like, I'm glad that your confidence is there, but now you're just an asshole about everything. And like, I'm not ashamed to admit that I understand that, like, everybody makes mistakes, and that was one of mine.
Everybody has those days.
Shut up. But I understand that, like, that was one of mine. I was definitely somebody who developed the God complex and let it get the best of me. And, you know, but it's okay, because everybody does that shit. Everybody does shitty things.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I definitely went through not too long ago.
Everybody does it.
110%. You can vouch for it.
Yeah.
I definitely went through that bitch not too long ago.
Yeah, and you know what? I didn't say shit for the most part.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Now that I was thinking about it, I was like,
yeah.
But you know what? I appreciate it, because now I'm chilling.
Because, and the thing is that you need to understand that sometimes, like, even if that person's doing that, you don't realize, like, I was so stressed all the time. Like, I was a walking anxiety bomb.
I mean, even with that, they always say it, like, even when someone looks like they're at, like, 10 best time of their life, like, they're fucking living their life, like, 9 times out of 10, that person behind closed doors is going through some of the hardest shit at their life.
I was out of classes and like, I would leave school at least once or twice a week because I just was a walking anxiety attack.
Yeah, bro. I remember my fucking senior year, bro. I had never realized what an anxiety attack was, and I've never gotten an anxiety attack until my senior year, and
I wish.
And bro, it scared the shit out of me, right? So, you know, obviously, kids being kids, like when you're in a relationship with somebody, right? I was with my ex-girlfriend at the time, and I'm sitting in math class next to my best friend at the time. Who there was a little beef there. You know what I mean? Between my best friend and my ex-girlfriend, there was a little bit of beef.
Yeah.
So, what's it called? My ex-girlfriend basically was like, yo, I don't want you talking to her, yada, yada, this and that. And so we sat next to each other in math class. And I get a text. My girlfriend's not in that class, but her best friend is, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I get a text, right, from my girlfriend in the middle of class. Like, damn, bro, you really sat next to her? Yo,
dude, technology's crazy.
Yo, when I tell you that my shit spiked, like I thought she was about to come in with like knock the door down.
Where is he?
No, literally, bro. Like it got to a point where I was like it sounds kind of obviously it is childish. I was in high school, you know what I mean? But yeah, bro. Like I literally like I remember my chest locking up on me. And me genuinely like not being able to breathe type shit. And I was like, I have to like go get fresh air, dog.
Yeah, dude. You for the people who've never experienced an anxiety attack, it is like anytime that you've experienced stress, imagine that, but it's like 10 times worse. I described it as like the feeling of getting the wind knocked out of you, but it never comes back.
Yeah.
And like it just feels like you're literally dying.
No,
and
like
your brain, your fight or flight response is on 10, and it's saying you're gonna die if you keep sitting in this spot.
Yeah, bro. Like you're genuinely trying so hard to catch your breath that like you're now over freaking out about the fact that you can't catch your breath, and it just adds on top of it, and you just get fucked over.
You want to hear what makes it worse? As somebody who has had anxiety almost my whole life and dealt with, like I said, the anxiety attacks throughout all of high school, and before then, when I got to high school, it reached about like sophomore year, and I realized what was going on, and like I kind of started to combat it and understand how to and then from there on out, there's another layer of it where you get an anxiety attack and you understand you're having one, you understand that you can stop it, and you understand that why you're having it is a dumb reason. And then it stresses you out more and makes you have even worse of an attack because you're upset about the fact that you know you shouldn't be having an anxiety attack.
Yeah, it's like, I honestly like that shit.
Misery.
Yeah, bro, that shit literally blows my mind how that shit fucking works, bro.
Yeah, our brains are crazy.
And yeah, no, like that shit is that's not easy to deal with. You know what I mean? But
all in all, I think that like what you should take away from this is like understand that find the things that make you comfortable and happy that are things that help you de-stress, be it like hobbies, hanging out with friends, talking about it, whatever it may be.
Keep a book on you.
Yeah, writing it down is also pretty good.
Yeah, keep a journal on you. Keep, if you gotta throw something in your fucking notes on your phone real quick and take, a couple minutes just to be like, I'm gonna jot down my thoughts real quick. Cause that's another thing that I saw a video that if, like people who, before you go to sleep, they'll write down whatever, like it could be the most random shit in the world. It doesn't even have to be like goal oriented or anything like that. But you write down whatever your mind is just like thinking about, random words and shit like that. Mind. And it'll literally clear your mind because your brain has now realized that it has stored the stuff that it was thinking about on a physical copy. And whenever you need to go back to it, you can go back and see it. So now your brain just releases it.
Yeah, and
what in the actual fuck?
If you go to bed upset or like angry or stuff, it is 9 times out of 10 leads to worse sleep too. So that's why you should always clear your head before you go to sleep. Anything that you're angry or upset about, you should always like vent or get out beforehand so that you can sleep better. because of the fact that you will sleep worse.
Sleep number. No, I'm just playing.
There you go.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but
that shit blew my mind.
that's what I got. In this terms of like dealing with stress, is know that it's okay to be stressed. Know that
It's okay not to be okay, bro.
yeah. Also know that like don't let it be your whole personality. Don't let it take over you. And,
Don't be one of those people who make it your personality. Don't do that.
And,
But just know that you're gonna get through it, dog. Like eventually, like it's gonna be over with. You know what I mean? Nothing lasts forever, and that's a good and a bad thing.
yeah. Tomorrow's a new day.
Tomorrow is a new day.
But I think let's come up for air.
I'm here for it, dog.
All right, Brendan.
Hold my
Simping
dick.
ain't pimping, dog.
Simping is not pimping, bro. Let me tell y'all something, bro. I really almost caught myself trusting a female again, which I told myself I would not do for it.
This bleeds back into earlier in the episode where I said Brendan does not do well with relationships currently. He's working on it.
Oh, that also. Oh, you know what? Let's talk about it.
Oh, boy.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
No. I want you to act like there's no camera here, bro. Go dummy. What do you mean by that? Go stupid, bro. Let's talk. Let's unpack my trauma here.
I think that you are...
Send it. Full send it.
I think that you are too willing to be on this, like... It's trendy to be like, fuck the other sex.
Yeah, I feel you.
It is so trendy right now to be like, fuck all men or fuck all women. I won't even lie to you. And I think that fun fact for you, this is why I got off TikTok, was because that is all that my TikTok was the gender war and then politics. It's really trendy, and that's why I got off TikTok originally. And I didn't make a new one until I had to for marketing reasons.
Yeah.
But I think that part of your brain is poisoned from that. And then also I don't want to say you got hoed, but you did.
I got fucking hoed.
Because you know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
But I want to I want to preface this by saying you also are torturing yourself by holding on to the fact that you won't let yourself move forward at all. And it's not even just in the way that, like, you won't let yourself drop this person. It's the way that you also won't let yourself move forward by talking to anybody else in that way. Because you're so
I'm terrified.
Unwilling to move it.
I'm terrified.
And I think that's... And that completely relates to this whole stress thing of, like, the what ifs.
Yeah. Because, like, for me, like, that does stress me out. Because for me, like, the ability to... The willingness to go and trust somebody else and open up and, like, let somebody in for me right now is, like, it has been for a while, like, is fucking terrifying. Because you now let this person into your fucking walls, right? And they look at everything and they go, everything's kind of fucking fragile in here. If I just knock one domino over, it's fucking hell, dog.
Yeah, here's the thing that I've realized. This is going to get a little heavy in our coming up fair section.
I'm here for it.
Have you ever lost someone? Like, had someone in your life pass away?
Close like that? No, I've been lucky. I've been fortunate enough not to.
I have. I've had quite a few people. There is a mentality that you begin to develop, which is understanding that things happen and you have to kind of move forward and let it go. It never fully goes away, and that's okay. And it's okay to understand that there will always be that little bit of hurt or that little bit of missing. Getting in and out of a relationship is like that. It's like losing somebody, because you are gaining another part of you that you didn't know you missed or that wasn't there. But understanding that at the end of the day, when all things are said and done, when you wake up the next day, if that thing is gone, you will still keep going. And you don't need it to be alive.
Yeah,
you just want it.
Yeah, I feel you. And I know for a while now, like you can definitely vouch for that. Like for a while, I was on the opposite spectrum where I was like, damn, I need a female.
Yeah, and here's the thing, I want you to understand. It wasn't until about 2 weeks ago because I've always felt like I needed people in my life at the level of just friendship. I just need the people around me. Yeah. And then there was a conversation that I had with some of my friends, a long story that we're not really going to get into because it gets kind of like too personal for the podcast. Yeah. Which says something.
Yeah.
But I realized I don't need any of the people around me. If everybody around me just disappeared and or like stopped talking to me, I don't need them. I just want them around. Yeah. And it makes me happy to have them around. Yeah, which is good. You should always feel like you are 100% you or complete from you.
Well, yeah, and I even tell people tell people this when I'm like, what I look for in a female. I never want to be needed by a female.
Facts.
I never want to be depended on by a female.
It feels you
almost feel like you have to. You know what I mean? And it feels like if I don't do this, I'm gonna feel shitty about this. You know what I mean? And you never want to feel like that. For me, I want to have my female have her own life, and then when she wants me to be around her. She wants me to go do this. Where she wants me to go blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
I'm not her only outlet.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So and that's also healthy. You know what I mean?
And that goes for all significant others, not just like it's not a targeted thing.
You know what I mean? Like, and for me, at least from my opinion, from my point of view, it is not healthy to have someone completely attached to you 24/7 at your hip. You know what I mean? Facts. Like even living together, bro. Like you can tell the difference between people who have healthy relationships living together and non-healthy relationships living together. There are some people who can be at each other's hip and not get tired of each other, and it works out for them. But most times, people end up forcing it.
Yeah, air is okay. You don't need to be next to each other. It doesn't mean that you don't love or care about each other. You are human and you need space and you need to do your own thing.
Yeah, and I think for a long time I went from needing a female to then getting fucked over to where I'm current. So it was kind of like a little bit more aggressive on the fuck women yada yada like off rip. Like
I was a little concerned about it. Honestly.
I was angry at the world. I'm going to be honest, I was very angry at the world. And I think in one of the earlier episodes, we talked about it where I tripped out. And I think I kind of came to terms with just understanding that, like you said, like that shit happened. You know what I mean? But now for me, I'm at this point where it's like, okay, I understand. And I kind of accepted what everything happened and it needed to happen. And I'm here because of it. Now getting to the point of trusting someone and moving on and like, taking that next step to like, all right, bro, like I flirt, you know what I mean? I'll fuck around and send shots out and just cut.
That's different.
And then as soon as I hear someone respond like in a way, I'm like, hey, bro, I was playing around, bro. I was just like, I'm playing games, bro. Like, don't do that. And then when other people play games with me, I'm like, trust me, bro, you don't want these problems. Like, you really don't want to do it. I'm like, you really don't want to do this right now, bro. Like, you have to understand, dog. You don't. And I don't know. I just I'm trying to get there. You know what I mean? And I think when I do get there, like, you know, I'll find my person and shit like that. But I don't know that
understanding is half of it.
I have so many icks. You know what I mean? Now,
no, I get it.
Especially after what happened, I'm like, don't talk to me anymore.
That's just me with people. It's just a person issue.
Yeah, bro. When you get a people ick, it's always tough. When it's like, especially at work or like.
Just in general.
Yeah, someone you see a lot, you're always just like, bro.
You're here.
And it's always tough because like you can't say that and then be like, oh, Jackson's a dick. No, everyone has that. Everyone has those people in their life when they see them.
I know damn well that there's about 5 people that I could probably list off of hand that as soon as I walk into my work or walk into a place like, that I will go see, I'm like, they're like, shit.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it goes both ways. You know what I mean? So
people just don't drive. It happens. It's life. Whatever.
People don't like people.
On the Switch, though.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I want to talk about something a little more lighthearted. I want to talk about me being younger. I want to talk about me. When I was younger, my sister was in dance. She has been my whole life. And so my mom and my dad have always been separated for me. I like. They're separated for as long as I can possibly remember. And my mom lives about
super lighthearted.
Yeah, my mom lives like 30 minutes away. From my like where everything is that I currently live around, you know. And where I used to live around basically. And so that includes where my sister danced at. And so my mom was getting us from school and then would take my sister to dance. And my sister's dance class was like an hour to 2 hours, anywhere in that time period. And so we would go to the driving range. We'd go golf, or which is where I got my love of golfing. I actually do really like the golf. Golf.
Suck on these golf balls, bitch.
And then I literally have nothing to say to that.
Suck a golf ball through a garden hose, you know what I mean?
That one I get. I know that reference. That one, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we would also go to this place. It was a little fish and chips shop.
So good.
Different place.
So good. I love fish and chips.
Fish and chips do be schmack. But there'd be a little fish and chip shop, and we would go there, and they had arcade machines, and we played Mortal Kombat. And here's the thing.
Get over it.
I'm like 6.
All you're seeing is fucking blood and gory shit.
Or like 6 to 12, somewhere in that range.
I was playing GTA at like 12, so I feel you.
That's crazy. I want to preface this by saying my mom would kick my ass. And obviously she would do the thing of like, you just beat me. Because I didn't fucking know. But I just have like these very faint memories of like me and my mom playing Mortal Kombat and stuff. And then she would go through like the tower and everything. My mom was fucking good at Mortal Kombat.
That's tight.
She was pretty lit at it.
That's sick.
If you're watching, Mom, love you.
That's how my mom was, but with Miss Pac-Man.
Dude, also Miss Pac-Man.
She has a little arcade in the living room. There's like a little arcade thing of the little Miss Pac-Man. She'll just be sitting
My
there.
grandma has, but she has like a full like arcade table.
Oh, that's
cabinet.
lit.
So me and the cousins would always play it and everything.
That's fire.
So I'm actually really good at Miss Pac-Man.
Yeah, bro. Miss Pac-Man is my mom's
hard.
shit. Yeah.
But yeah, like I just, like that memory of like that little small childhood me of like playing that, and developing that like knack for arcade games and stuff like that in Mortal Kombat.
We should go to an arcade bar.
Yeah, there's one that I know that we can go to.
There's one in Surprise here, and then there's one
downtown.
in Phoenix.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But anyway, I think we're running a little longer. Well, actually, minus like all the cuts.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be like
about
an hour.
Yeah, it'll be about an hour. But yeah.
If no one told you today you're a beautiful human being,
I have to cut that.
I love you. Why?
It's so annoying.
No, don't cut that.
Yeah. No matter who you are, what you are, we love you.
Claim what you bang. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I'll kiss you on your forehead. Papa kiss. Mwah.
Yeah.
I love you.
Otherwise, where can they find you?
Instagram, Brendan with like 2 E's and underscore. We'll link it. Twitter, we'll link it. Felice 100 or B Felice 100, and then on Twitch at KillerB420 with 2 R's. Again, we'll link it.
Yep. And then you can find me at RQ on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere, TikTok.
Yeah, he makes it easy for you.
And all that stuff will be linked down below. Yeah, and you can find us at the Coming Up for Aircast on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, not Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok.
Yeah.
Again, all linked down below. You can also find us at Coming Up for Air, wherever you listen to podcasts, if you're not listening on one of those platforms. But we'll see you guys next Wednesday.
Later, hot boys and hot women.
Bye.